The Gunners 0, Newcastle United 2, my match reaction and player ratings and much more. Let's take a deep dive into this game. Starting off, I am over the moon. Yet again another win for Newcastle. I said trust the process in some of my prediction videos when talking about Eddie Howe. And when you trust the process, wins like these happen. Brilliant game plan by Eddie Howe. Obviously near the end, Newcastle were scraping it, parking the bus you could say, taking off attackers, parking the bus, and to start off the game, it was a pretty brilliant start. Constantly going forward, constantly looked like Newcastle were going to score in almost every attack. Obviously the Gunners did well to defend some of the attacks, but Alexander Isak, he was brilliant. I remember the first half an hour was so good. And it was end-to-end for that first half an hour. And the first half, it was quite end-to-end. Isak, he's not just playing down the middle. He goes on the wing, the right wing, to dribble around players, to be threatening. He's on the left wing, being threatening to Arsenal's back line. He's just threatening everywhere. What a game he had. And what a game from our defenders. What a return Sven Botman's made in the Tottenham game and the Gunners game here. Brilliant by Sven Botman, brilliant by Dan Burn, brilliant by Lewis Hall, brilliant by Livramento, brilliant by Gordon. Newcastle, absolutely brilliant. But then you're going to have to think, the Gunners probably deserved something. They obviously hit the post in the first half. 2 very near misses by Timber. And you know what? Each corner Arsenal had, a sweat dropped from my face because they were threatening from corners. Those 2 big near-miss chances by Timber were big chances. And I was scared. Throughout the entire game, I was on the edge of my seat, watching the game with a serious face. I was that scared that Newcastle were going to concede because this is only the first leg. And to start off away from home with a 2-0 win against the Gunners, that is the best possible start you could have. And fair play to the Gunners. I thought Declan Rice wasn't too bad in the middle there. I thought Gabriel Martinelli made multiple chances. But the thing is, they're missing someone like Isak. They really did. I thought we would miss Bruno, but Willock did a good job anyway. And overall, Arsenal were pushing in that second half. They had all the possession, all the chances. But Newcastle, they had no strikers in that second half. Parked the bus. 5 at the back, 5 in the midfield. You could say 5 CDMs, 5 centre-backs. Sandro, fantastic. Dubravka, loads of punches. The Gunners probably deserved the goal, you know, and they were threatening. But I think it was just a great game plan by Newcastle, which really did stop them. You could say they were predictable at times, and Newcastle founded out Arsenal's routine on how they attack, and they did really well. Newcastle United, brilliant by Eddie Howe, brilliant by the squad. But I thought the Gunners gave it a really good shift, and they weren't bad, the Gunners. Newcastle were just brilliant. It was 2 teams which had a good game. Both teams had good games. In that first half, the momentum kept on switching, once towards Arsenal, once towards Newcastle. But in the second half, obviously, ever since that second goal went in, Eddie Howe had one mind in his head: to park the bus. I'm super duper happy. And do you know what would be crazy? If Newcastle United and Tottenham are in the final. Because those are 2 teams which are desperate for trophies. Tottenham always bottle. Have not won a trophy, you could say. Newcastle haven't won a trophy since like 1955. I wasn't even there for it. That's how long ago. I want that to happen. I want Tottenham to win against Liverpool because first of all, they're an easier opponent. Second of all, it's just going to be a crazy final of 2 teams which have not won a trophy, not a major trophy for a while. And I cannot wait for the second leg because I think Newcastle are going to boss it. But I think the Gunners are probably missing that striker. I mean, they have done for quite a while, but when Gabriel Jesus came on, don't think he did enough. But it was quite hard when you're facing pretty much like 10 centre-backs. A bit like what the Gunners did against Man City when they completely tried to hold on to like a point and they just went 10 men at the back and just full throttled in defending. Definitely a similar scenario. And overall, Arsenal, the Gunners, whatever you want to be called, you've been outplayed by the better team in this game. Newcastle. No matter what the referee decisions in the game was, it doesn't matter. Newcastle have won this game, and Newcastle defended brilliantly. I mean, I've never seen such a great defensive performance. Newcastle were fighting for the badge. Loved it. But onto the player ratings. Starting in goal, Martin Dubravka. I thought he had a good performance. He made plenty of punches through the corners. He was very good when he needed to catch the ball, when he needed to make a save. I remember it was Gabriel in the penalty box. He shot, Martin Dubravka made his body big and he saved it. It wasn't a pretty save, but it was still a save. And he made loads of punches with the ball away from the penalty box, and he was really demanding in his area. But I still felt like at times he may have missed punched or maybe slightly out of position where he shouldn't be. So I'm not going to give him a really high rating, but I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. But I've heard the rumours that he's going to be leaving to go to Saudi Arabia. And ever since he came into the club, when Newcastle got promoted to the Premier League, in that first season in the Premier League, he was sensational, and he's always been sensational. Even through the times where a lot of Newcastle fans thought he wasn't good, like when Nick Pope came in because they didn't think Martin Dubravka was good enough, I still felt like he was good enough. He was Premier League quality, and I thought he was much better than other people thought he was. And he's proving it here now. He's ending on a high, and I'm assuming he is going because apparently people have said he looked a bit emotional at the end of the game. So thank you, Martin Dubravka. You've been an absolute sensational goalkeeper. Good luck to you. Right back, Tino Livramento. Brilliant game. He looked fast. He looked reactive, and he made defending tackles after defending tackles. He was brilliant. And the one thing I've seen from Newcastle is how high the fullbacks were. And for Newcastle, they had loads of men in the first half. This was forward. It was Eddie Howe's plan to try and get early goals and then park the bus when they get those 2 goals and protect the lead. And that's exactly what happened, and it went perfectly for Eddie Howe. But in that first half, all Newcastle players went forward pretty much, and it was absolutely brilliant. I'm going to give him a solid 8 out of 10. Right centre back, Sven Botman. I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10. Brilliant performance by Sven Botman. Honestly, what an impact he is making in that defence. I mean, Fabian Schär is a great defender, but Sven Botman, he may be even better. Last-ditch blocks, great to win multiple aerial duels. Brilliant by Sven Botman. Dan Burn, another great Dan Burn performance. Great defensive structure. Obviously, there was times when loads of defenders got forward and Arsenal went on the counter-attack and it obviously hit the post. That was the main one. So it was Gabriel Martinelli to hit the post. But that was because Newcastle were just pushing forward in the first half. Dan Burn, 8 out of 10. What is a great defensive performance. Left back, Lewis Hall. Yet again, I don't think he's man of the match in this game, but he was brilliant yet again. Intercepted when needs to intercept. And you know what? At times, with the ball at his feet, he was brilliant. He could dribble past players and everything. Honestly, he did that 2 or 3 times. Great to get forward as well, overlapping runs. Made plenty of options for Newcastle in the attack. And that's why we scored. We were threatening, and Newcastle gave each other, all the players gave each other multiple options to score. And it was fantastic. Lewis Hall, I'm giving a solid 8 out of 10 as well in left back. Right wing, Jacob Murphy, brilliant. Obviously got an assist from what is terrible defensive set piece by Arsenal. He did really well to get to the ball, get the assist, and not just that. I thought he made 2 or 3 great balls, like really good long balls, over the top down the right wing to Alexander Isak. And he linked up really well with Isak. And it was a great performance by Jacob Murphy. And in fact, I remember one of the times he tracked back and he was doing defensive duties. He slid in, I think it was either a sliding block or sliding interception or sliding tackle. He won it back and he boosted it straight up, an accurate pass over the top through ball to Isak. Brilliant performance. And he set up Isak for that shot, which was saved by David Raya and knocked on to Gordon to get the goal. So he kind of created that goal from a great vision to make the pass. So he kind of got the assist of the assist, you could say, as well as an assist. I'm giving him an 8.5 out of 10. A brilliant performance by Jacob Murphy. He did nothing wrong. On to Joseph Willock. And, you know, he's obviously filling in for Bruno Guimaraes, which wasn't available for this game. And I thought he did pretty well. He was energetic as any other Newcastle player was. He was pushing forward at any moment. I don't think he impacted the game as much as someone like Sandro Tonali or Joe Linton. But he was definitely there. He didn't really do much wrong. Maybe the odd pass didn't go to the right player, or he dribbled and he lost the ball. But overall, I thought he was pretty good. He was helping out defensively, helping out in the attack as much as possible, giving himself an option. I'm going to give him a solid 7 out of 10 for Joseph Willock. And Sandro Tonali, my gosh, I hope he doesn't move in the summer window to go back to AC Milan, because what a world-class, sensational player he was. I mean, first of all, he kind of reminds me of a John Joe Shelvey, if you remember who he was. Sitting back, long balls over the top. Brilliant long balls over the top. Brilliant passing. At the start of the game, he made a couple of poor passes, but other than that, brilliant defensive performance by Sandro Tonali. Brilliant performance again. 9 out of 10 for him. Joe Linton, brilliant. I remember it was in the second half. It was when we're parking the bus. And what I love from Joe Linton, he never gives up. And his physicality. I remember it was in Arsenal's half, right in the left-hand corner. He was battling it out, I think it was with Timber, and he did really well to constantly get to the ball. And when you thought Timber was going to control the ball, he jumped out of nowhere and got the ball. And he stood his ground physically, and he got it, and he passed it, and he won Newcastle the ball. And he was brilliant, Joe Linton, in that game. Brilliant defensive tackles, defensive scenarios he was brilliant at. And yet again, gave Newcastle plenty of options in that first half when Newcastle needed it the most. And in the first part of the second half. Brilliant. I'm giving him an 8 out of 10. Really chuffed with his performance. Anthony Gordon now. Brilliant performance. Got the goal. He was there where he needed to be. He was faster than Timber in multiple moments. He reacted better than Timber. And brilliant reaction to get to the goal. Anthony Gordon also helped covered Lewis Hall when he needed to. Did his defensive work when needed to protect Lewis Hall from those dangerous counterattacks by Arsenal, as we had a lot of players up the pitch. Brilliant by Anthony Gordon. I'm giving him an 8.5 out of 10. And then Alexander Isak, I'm going to have to give him a 10 out of 10. Has to be. This time I'm giving him man of the match. I know the commentators did, but I couldn't go for him not man of the match. Last time I went for Lewis Hall when I did my last reaction in the Man United game. This time I'm going to have to give it to Isak. He was everywhere. Right wing, left wing, striker. He was all over the place. And all over the place in a good way. Brilliant dribbling. He was creating multiple stuff. And you could say he pretty much kind of assisted Gordon when he shot it onto Darragh and it rebounced over to Gordon. Brilliant. Honestly, he's the best striker in the Premier League. Even better than Erling Haaland. Controversial, but at the moment, I think he is. If he can keep this up for the rest of this season and next season, 100%. But the substitute, Sean Longstaff, came on, and he came on when we were parking the bus. He made some good clearances, did enough. I'm just going to give him a 6.5 out of 10. Did enough defensively. Harvey Barnes, yeah, I mean, he stumbled once when he went on the attack, and really did enough defensively. 6 out of 10, why not? Didn't do anything really wrong. Lloyd Kelly, again, I don't think he did anything wrong. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10 as well. Didn't do much wrong. And then Miguel Almiron, you know what? Maybe his first touch on the ball wasn't amazing. Maybe he was offside when we had that one rare attack in the second half near the end. But he was really pressing. And he was giving it 100%. You could tell as soon as he came on, he was constantly sprinting. He's the Miguel Almiron I know. And he's always like that. And he gave it a full heart effort. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10 as well because of the effort he brought to Newcastle when he came on. Really positive performance by Newcastle, and this first half of this game, you could say, has gone really well, although it was scary at times because now and again our defence was a bit open, but overall we did it good. Eddie Howe's planned worked to perfection. Over to the Gunners player ratings now. Darragh, I don't think he did anything wrong. 6 out of 10 to be honest. This save, it was rebounded off. I don't think he could have done much about that. I think it was a good save. He didn't really do anything wrong. He didn't have to do much in that game, especially in the second half. 6 out of 10 seems about right. Moving on to the back four, Timber. He tried pushing up down the right flank a lot, attacking well. And I don't think he had a terrible game. I know you could say he should have done better for the chances he got. But defensively, I thought he did pretty decent at times. I think maybe he could have done better against Gordon at times. Because Gordon, he was faster. He got the better of Timber. And maybe he could have taken his chances. So because of that, I am going to downgrade his rating a bit. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Again, I don't think there was any terrible Gunners player in my opinion. 6 out of 10. Could have probably done a bit better to defend against Gordon. And probably should have done better for the chances. William Saliba, I don't think fully to blame for the defending set piece of when that went in. And fully to blame for Gordon's goal. But maybe he could have been positioned better at times in the defence. But overall, I can't say he had a bad game. William Saliba, he stood his ground, made some good headers when he needed to. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Not too bad for William Saliba. Gabriel, I thought he could do better at times though. The defending set piece, when it meant the most, I thought he didn't react good enough. And that is going to downgrade him to a 6 out of 10. Again, 6 out of 10 is decent. I don't think the defence did that bad in my opinion. And then a left back, Lewis Skelly. I thought in the first half, he looked a bit flary, going quite high up the pitch. And overall, I don't think he defended terribly. Again, maybe he could have done better for the defending set piece. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10 and left back for Arsenal. And on right wing, Trossard. I mean, you have to give credit to Arsenal. They were pretty clinical in terms of their passing. Passing was quite accurate. And Trossard, he made some great runs multiple times, trying to hinder Newcastle's defence. And you know what? I thought Trossard could get a lot of assists. Obviously, he could have got the assist from Gabriel Martinelli's shot, which hit the post. And there was multiple other times where he could have got assists. Honestly, he created a lot. I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. Thomas Partey, which did come off, and understandably, I don't think he really did much. I don't think he really pushed Newcastle's defence that much. And I'm going to give him an okay performance, a 5 out of 10 for me. Again, I think his passing was fine. I just don't think he did really much for Arsenal. Declan Rice, on the other hand, he had a full 90 minutes. He was really involved with Arsenal. And he obviously was the corner taker. And some of the corners could have went in. There was one that hit the side netting. But other than that, corners were pretty decent. I thought he was quite threatening in the attack, trying to create a lot. Multiple movements, tried to do a lot of 1-2s, running in behind the defence. I thought was really good. I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10 for Declan Rice. Not too bad. Left wing, Gabriel Martinelli. You know what? He could have scored at some points. And again, he was trying loads of things in the attack. 1-2s. You know, I remember it was a perfect movement. He eventually got a volley from it. He 1-2'd it. And then got into a great position. It was a great 1-2, great movement. Took a touch, and then it was a volley, but the volley was taken terribly. But overall, to get into that position, he looked really good. I'm going to give him a solid 7.5 out of 10. I don't think it was too bad. And then Kai Havertz. Obviously, that massive opportunity, which he should have taken. Almost an open goal, you could say. And maybe, if they had a proper number 9 striker, that number 9 striker would have taken it. But Havertz, again, if you're playing in that striker role, which eventually Jesus came on, and also played in it, you're going to be thinking you're going to have to be a bit more clinical. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10 because, again, he got into those positions and I don't think he had a terrible game. I still thought he did pretty decent. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. And then obviously Jesus coming on, I'm going to give him a 5.5 out of 10 for the substitute Jesus. I think he has been good all season, but trying to break a Newcastle defence and midfield is going to be hard. You know, it's going to be very hard when they're parking the bus and they've got quality defenders. And the midfield, structurally beautiful for Newcastle. He's going to find it hard to get in there. And I think Arsenal just need to be more clinical. And maybe is missing that striker. And then also Jorginho, who came on for Thomas Partey, I thought created a bit more than Thomas Partey did. And I didn't think it was too bad. I thought he did pretty good performance. 7 out of 10 for Jorginho. I thought his passing was accurate. He tried to make some over-the-top through balls to some of the Arsenal players, to Jesus at one point, and I thought he played very well in that central midfielder, feeding balls out to the wide players, doing the simple stuff. Not too bad. Obviously, I've missed Martin Odegaard. Not a bad performance as well. Again, it wasn't brilliant, but again, he was kind of the heart of some of the good attacks that they had. Again, good 1-2s, good passing and moving. Did the simple stuff. Again, the pass accuracy for Arsenal must be pretty high because I thought they didn't really make any terrible passes, but they were quite predictable, Arsenal. That was the problem. But Odegaard, I'm going to give him a 6.5 out of 10. Not terrible, but I think, again, could be better. I think all of the Arsenal attackers did pretty well, and all the players did really, really well to create the chances they did. And it could have been a completely different game, especially when it hit the post and Timber's opportunities. Sometimes it did break Newcastle's defence, like the Gabriel Martinelli volley, like I mentioned earlier. So it wasn't a terrible performance by Arsenal. But I think Arsenal were just shocked on how Newcastle played. And then Shevchenko coming off the pitch as well. Have to remember him as well. He got the yellow card almost immediately. I don't think he did anything massive in the game. I'm going to say he played okay. Nothing to really judge him out of. 5 out of 10. That's all the player ratings, but that's not done yet. I'm gonna rate Mikel Arteta, and again, I thought Mikel Arteta put a good lineup out. I would have thought he would want to start Jesus, but maybe he wants to rest up for the league game against Tottenham, maybe. But other than that, maybe he could have changed something up, the formation or something, because it did get quite predictable. I'm not going to say it was Mikel Arteta's fault, but I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. But Eddie Howe, 10 out of 10. Brilliant. His game plan, I mean, you saw it. It was brilliantly executed. He got the midfield balance 3 perfect again. It was just like if Bruno was in the side. You know, he did brilliantly to instruct all the players on what to do, and well done for parking the bus at the right time to protect the lead. And at the start, well done to say to all the players to just get forward and make as many options as possible. Brilliant football in the first half. Brilliant defending, last-ditch blocks. Eddie Howe, 10 out of 10. Newcastle, brilliant. And Arsenal, you've been outplayed. But that is my match reaction over. Let me know your player ratings if you want. Let me know how the game went for you, whether you're a Newcastle fan or Arsenal fan. But for now, hope you're enjoying your new year, especially if you're a Newcastle fan. I know you are, and I am definitely. But for now, toodle pip. Check out this next video.